Hey guys, how you doing? Regular guy here. I was about to rotate my tires because I brought my car in and they changed the oil for me. And the guy says, well, you know, your tread life is... I said, yeah, okay. So, oh, we can rotate your tires for a fee. I said, yeah, and I can do it at home without a fee. So, I'm cheap. Yeah, that's what it is. So, I'm going to rotate my tires. I'm just going to set this up, let it go, and probably voice over it. So, um, yeah, So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I'll let you know what I'm doing and what tools I'm using, and I'll probably just gonna do one side because the other side will be the exactly the same. So I'll do that. So, yep, here we go. So here's my voiceover. I'm walking into my garage to go get some of my tools. I think the first thing I'll be getting is a uh, my drill and my socket that fits my lug bolts and uh, and the adapter, of course. So everything fits together well. Of course, you should always turn the camera on and walk away from it. That's always a great idea. So okay, here I am with my drill. Now I'm going to get my spare. All right, there's my spare. Closing this guy, I'm gonna just kind of walk over here and get my jack real quick. This will only take a second. Got my jack and my four-way lug. Man, I love my four-way lug wrench. It just makes everything so much easier. Okay, so gonna put my jack underneath. Gotta go get my chock. CHOCK. A chock is something that you put underneath your wheel to keep the car from rolling, since my driveway is on an incline. And this is just something I made. It's just a couple of pieces of wood that I finger jointed together with glue. Yeah, it does the job. Usually put it under the front. Oh, but I just realized that I'll be working on this side of the car, so I'll put it underneath the other front wheel. This way, when I take that front drive wheel off the ground on the driver's side, the passenger wheel will still be on the ground, and it'll stop the car from moving. So then what you do is you break the lugs loose. I'm not unscrewing them all. I'm just loosening them. And my Chrysler 200 has 5 of them. And for some reason, they have lug bolts instead of lug nuts. I don't know why they actually went to this. Well, I gotta take my hat off, sorry. The suspension on this car in the back, it's got like a wishbone suspension. Well, wishbone-ish. There's an arm that comes out from the chassis of the car connecting to the wheel. So what I'm doing is I'm jacking up the arm connected to the wheel. So instead of jacking up the entire car, I'm just jacking up that one wheel. Now if you look, you'll see the car doesn't really raise off the ground. Just that one wheel does. When you can see that it start to spin, then I know it's off the ground. I'll be able to take it off easy. Now I just use my handy dandy drill because just spinning them out with the wrench is just, well, this way's quicker. Much quicker. Much quicker. I like it. So I'm taking them all out. These are bolts. These are not just your regular lug nuts. For some reason, they put bolts in them. It used to be the bolts were attached to the hub, and you just put the wheel on the lugs and you tighten the bolts. No, not anymore. Now you gotta put the wheel on the hub and then try to line up the holes in the wheel to the holes in the hub and put your bolts in. It's a little bit more hi-hat. It's a little bit more bothersome, I should say. I'm old school. What do I got? Oh, I got an oil can here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on these lug bolts. My dad always said if you just put a little oil on them, you won't have any trouble the next time you take them off. And it could be years before you have to take them off again. You just never know. I hope it is years because, tire problems are not something people should have. Especially me, because it's a pain in the butt. It always seems to be dark and raining when you have to do this stuff. So it's easy to put this one on though, because the inside hub on this wheel is so shallow that you can see right through it. You can see how wide my regular wheels are, and it's just hard to see through it to line up those bolts. So I'm hand threading them. Handy dandy drill, and I had to put the clutch on the drill. I take it out of full drill mode and put the clutch on, so just makes a bunch of clicking noise when it gets to the end. And these guys, I don't really have to tighten them all the way down since I'm just using this temporarily in my driveway. I'm not actually going to be driving on it. So I let the car down. However, now here's something I didn't anticipate. The spare is not quite as tall as the wheel that I took off. So when I let it down, it comes down lower than the stock wheel did. So as the car sits lower, it sits about 1/8 of an inch lower than my jack goes. So I'm trying to get my jack out. I've got to, trying to wiggle it, and I'm going to try to lift up the car and muscle it, try to lift the car and wiggle it. I mean, if I had somebody else to pull the jack out, I could lift the car and do it. But just doing it by myself, meh. It's the end of the day. It's almost Friday. I'm tired by this time. So, excuse me. Yeah, it's late. Yeah, Kiva knows what I'm doing. Recording late. Okay, so there it is. I muscled it out. Trying to drive it to the front of the car. I don't have a license to drive this thing. So what I'm going to... Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to try to do the same thing on this wheel. It's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fast forward through all of this and pick it back up when I go and get the other jack. Okay, so this is when I realize it's just not going to work. So I got to put my hat on and go get the jack out of the trunk that came with the car. Now, I probably just should have did this all along. This jack, it worked great on my Cadillac because, the Cadillac had a real frame on it. These newer cars, they just don't have a frame like that. So I've got to loosen up the jack because the jack and the tool, the lug bolt wrench kind of fit together. There's a slot there, so what I had to do was loosen that up to get it out. Alright, so I'm putting this guy in there. I can't actually see it because the body of the car is covering the frame where it fits in, so you just got to kind of feel for it up there. It's always good not to twist the jack up and have your hand under it at the same time because, well, if you pinch your hand in there, that could be really, really bad. So just holding it in place, I'm feeling it. Okay, that's about where it should go. Yep, that looks about right. Okay, so I get my drill, turn it on the full drill, take the clutch off, put it on low speed, which gives me high torque, and that will actually take the car off the ground. Yeah, my daughter bought me this DeWalt drill for, I think it was a Father's Day or a birthday or something. I had broken my other one. I had one of them really big bulky ones. There you go, look at that. That's on low speed, so yeah, high speed, it gives you the speed, but it doesn't give you the power. Low speed, it's a little bit slower. And I didn't jack it all the way up because I need to break these lugs loose. just, loosening them up. And this 4-way wrench, man, it just makes things so easy to do stuff like this. I mean, if you really want to lean into it, you can tighten these lugs so much you'll actually break the bolts off inside there. And that's definitely something you don't want to do. All right, jack the car the rest of the way up. Fortunately, the socket that I use for taking the lug bolts out is the same size that the jack uses. They planned it like that, and I'm grateful because it makes this so much easier. And look at how easy those come out. Now, put them down, got to go get my oil. Whenever I do this, I hear my dad's voice saying, put a little bit of oil on those lugs. So, yeah, he didn't actually sound like that. That's just, his voice in my head. Put a little bit on the tip, and then when you screw it in, it kind of spreads itself out. Okay, pull this guy off. Kind of checking it out, make sure there's nothing giant stuck in there aside from rocks. Okay, set that guy there. Go and get the one that I took off the back. Now, don't want to run over my drill even if I am just pushing the wheel. Putting this guy on, and you can see how deep these are. You can't actually see through the holes to line them up, so you got to put the lug bolt in and just try to line it up there. And I haven't quite mastered this skill yet, so it always takes me a little bit. And for some reason, this one gave me a lot of trouble. I know when I did the other two on the other side, it didn't take me as much. So there you can see I've taken the socket off the end, and I'm trying to screw that in because I can't get my fingers in there. Everything fits so tight and snug. No, that's not working. Just can't seem to get that guy started. And you can see how breezy it is. The leaves are blowing around me, and you can see the shadow of the tree moving around. It's probably 5:30, 6 o'clock at night when I'm doing this, so you see the sun setting. Okay, now I'm using my drill now to start this lug. They say you shouldn't do that, but it's only a drill, it's not an impact wrench. I feel pretty confident that this is okay. Alright, so I got those in. I'm going to grab the other ones and just run them in. And make sure to put the clutch on, because if you have it on full drill mode and you try to run those in and they stop when they get tight enough, that drill will just torque right out of your hand, and if you're not paying attention you can break your wrist doing that. So alright, just want to lower it enough to catch the ground. You don't want to lower this all the way down and then tighten them, because the way this is designed, those lugs, the heads of them are tapered, and the holes are a little bit in the wheel are a little bit oversized. So when you twist those lugs down, they find the center of that hole, the concentric center, and it pulls them in. So you want the resistance of the ground to stop the tire from rotating, but that's as far as you need it to be on the ground. And there I'm spinning it down, and that one's good. So yeah, if you lower it all the way down and try to put the lugs in, they may not sit properly. So it's always best to keep it up in the air and just lower it enough to catch the ground so you can tighten them up. Okay, and here I'm feeling around trying to get that jack in position, because there's a little ridge on that part of the the unibody. And this jack has a little groove in it where that reach fits into, so it's always best to line everything up. That guy's off the ground anyway. There it is. Yep, see what I mean about twisting out of your hand? Boom, there it is. All right. So there's that one. I'm taking these guys out so I can take the spare off and put this other this other wheel on there. Successfully switching the front with the back and the back with the front. I do this because, well, I'll explain it at the end. Gotta wheel this guy over. I looked at my brakes, by the way. That may be coming up on the weekend. Brake job. Yeah, the fronts are pretty low. I gotta look to see, check my records to find out when I did them. And here I am again trying to line up those holes. But with brakes, the great thing is I go to AutoZone, which is an auto parts store by me that sells all the stuff that you need. And you can do a brakes for life, which is actually a really good deal. You pay for it one time, they give you your brakes, you change your brakes, and then you save the old brake pads. So when you're ready to do your brakes again, you bring those old brake pads in, you tell them who you are, they look up, you know, what you need to do the job. They take the old ones, they recycle them, and they give you new ones for free. So if you're going to do your own brakes, it don't cost you nothing. Just a little bit of time. And, you know, as long as you keep everything oiled, and every time I take a screw out or a bolt out, bolt. I put a little oil on the end when I put it back in. That way, it doesn't give me a problem next time. And here I am. I'm just about done with this guy, and it doesn't take really too much to tighten these lugs. It's only 100 pounds of torque. Now, when you're using that four-way, it doesn't really take much at all. Don't give it everything you've got. Give it about half. That should be about good enough to keep it on there.
Well, as you can see, not my eyes, that's for sure, that didn't take me long at all. Well, it's only one side, but, I'll get the other side in just a few minutes. Yeah, this car, I bought this particular floor jack when I had my Cadillac, and it worked great. But this car, the undercarriage is a little different. It doesn't actually have a frame. It's got a unibody, and everything's so small and close and tight in there. I just didn't have room to get my floor jack in there. So I just decided to use my other one with my drill. And yeah, you see it worked out. So that's how you rotate your tires. You do one side, then you do the other side. Put the back on the front on the back of the same side. Now, they usually tell you to kind of crisscross them. Yeah, I'm dirty now. But, there's a rotation on the tire. The tire's got to turn a certain direction for you to get the grip and the traction and the water removal that you need from under the tire. So it's got to go a certain way, and as long as they're on the same side, the rotation's going to be the same. So, hey, you like that? Yeah, I like that. So that's how you rotate your tires. Wear gloves, and don't be in a hurry, because I'm losing daylight here, and it's just taking me a little bit. So that's how you do it. So we'll see you again soon. See you later.